though. Torrent catches 2, maybe not. Icy triple kill for him. XDD on the run. Buyback from your Leshrac. Will it be enough? Lamb low, but not out of the fight yet. XDD on the run. Are we going to see a hook back in? Not yet. Ultra kill for Icy of all heroes. This Kunkka doing a lot of work, and Rattlesnake at long last. They've really had to eke out this win, but they will be taking the racks, and with it, probably game 2.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest fight for them. The Alchemist giving away the Assault Cressor with the Disruption actually worked out really powerfully against him, but Lan M now goes in on Super Leshrac. The support Leshrac who had to buy back that fight gets caught out. The crit went on to the Juggernaut as well.
So much damage. He had a double damage rate at the start of that fight and has just continued to absolutely butcher everyone since then. Rattlesnake now 5k gold on Icy. I'm hoping for a Divine Rapier. Please, Icy. Give me my Christmas present.
Why the hell not?
We'll see what he goes for. But now,
if they can get 4 Raxes, maybe. And it looks like they could do just that. Air with the Blink Impel followed by Manabun, who's trying to bring down Icy. Well, that 5k gold going to go, well, he loses about 500, 600 of it.
Yeah, pretty nice pick off there. Still, they lost Rax. They didn't really trade for a whole lot, but, well, they'll fight on here, guys. It looks like RisingStars, they're going to force Rattlesnake to take at least one more lane of Rax before they call the GG.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for RisingStars to do a whole lot here apart from just stall, and getting back into this game just not really possible. Their late game is looking very pitiful when you've got a Juggernaut with Phase Drums Yasha at 36 minutes and Doom. He's got the Shiver's Guard, but this is you're a tanky utility Doom, getting a ton of armor. He's got a lot of HP, but
there's
he's not
just
doing
no damage.
Yeah.
And even if they get a damage item, Luo, Assault Cuirass already up, so how much will it really hurt? You also have to fight through the Coco Rum from Kunkka. That means everybody's going to be surviving a lot longer on the fights. Plus Mech, Pipe, even Visage is tanky, naturally as a support. 1400 HP on him. Now a Hood of Defiance as well. There's just no easy kills on Rattlesnake, and that means losing this game from here, nearly impossible.
Yeah, there really isn't. I guess the one thing they can look to do is just find someone like the Kunkka and try burst him down, because Kunkka with the Shadowblade Daedalus is very, very squishy in these fights. I say that, but he's just got himself a Heart of Tarrasque.
So much for being squishy, and it'll give you a nice amount of additional damage. Being a strength hero works pretty well with the Kunkka Splash, but we'll see RisingStars smoke up. Desperation smoke from them.
It really feels like it. They may keep the light somewhere nearby, but I don't think they're going to be able to find him. Keep the light, drops one Illuminate, backs off, and nothing happens.
Even if they found Kabu, at best it's an even trade, because the rest of Rattlesnake just freely farming during that time, and, well, he does get away in the end, so the smoke's going to fail. They'll keep on hunting here, but doesn't look like they'll find anyone.
Rattlesnake just getting so filthy rich. You've got a Clockwork with 3,000 gold. You've just got items all over the place, and even Visage is going to be having a hood of Defiance on himself. You've got the Pipe. He wants extra magic resistance with a hood. And RisingStars, their entire damage output at this point seems to be magic damage.
And it looks like they got their gem back as well. 2 gems up on Rattlesnake. RisingStars having one of their own, but I mean, that's a pretty big gold swing. Being forced to buy a gem when you're this far behind, not going to help matters much. Lamb pushing in that middle lane up to 3.5k. You mentioned how rich he is. Would love to see anything. Just get a Reaver, get a Blade Mail. It's all pretty gravy at this point.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter too much. You can go for the Reaver, you can go for a Shiver's Guard, Scythe of Vice, any big late game item, even just go something cheap and cheeky if he wants.
You can get your Force Staff here. Your Dagon, honestly, wouldn't be too bad because Leshrac's pretty squishy. There's no Pipe on the enemy team. It could really whatever he wants.
Get your Rod of Atos.
We'll see.
That's what I want to see.
Where's Atos 2000 when you need him?
He's not. He's gone home. It's awfully quiet in our BTS studio now. Everyone's left us.
Well, we'll see if we can fix that soon, but it won't be today, at least not yet. RisingStars trapped in their base. This could be the end. Coming now, a double damage rune on Icy. These crits could be so brutal.
Yeah, they really could. And Alchemist with a BKB can just go ham if he wants. Just go running in and just do it. Take any risk he really wants at this point. Even if these heroes go down, they have enough for a buyback and keep it alight. As soon as they buy back, can recall them in with the Spirit Form, and then, well, things get really dicey for RisingStars.
Icy now groups up top. It looks like they want to take the exposed racks as well as going through the side lane with the wider ramp. A little bit easier and safer to do it this way. Look for the hook. It'll come right now from Lamb. Pushes XDD back. Should be forced out of Blade Fury. Maybe not, though. Actually, the Splitter does catch Lamb, but he is so incredibly tanky. That's a great response for RisingStars, but what does it really accomplish? Rattlesnake, too fat to fail, I feel, at this point. They'll break the base again. Shiva's Guard from Xiaotuji runs in, but probably needs to be running away. Caught again by a hook, pushed out of the cogs. Will survive for the time being. Mofi, however, won't be so lucky. That's a 2-hero stun. Xiaotuji survives for the time being, but now a BKB. and a Ham Alchemist probably going to find a kill here. Pulled back in. Actually, isn't enough. Lamb hooks in into a Spike Carapace. He gets stunned immediately. An absolute chaotic fight. XDD on the run. Familiar stuns coming through. Now they want to dive in. This time I think it's going to work. There should be another hook. Cooling down in 1 second. It's up now. Rattlesnake, well, Lamb's going to fish. He's going to miss. But finally, at long last, RisingStars, they do tap out. We're headed to a game 3.
We're headed to a game 3. Last team fight. It's like you say, too fat to fail. Clockwork threw 3 hook shots in that fight. The 4th one missing towards that fountain. And the item pickup's just becoming way, way, way too much. And the harder Tarrasque on Kunkka, you get the Alchemist with the BKB. And at that point, your magic damage isn't enough. They had no actual DPS. And Rattlesnake, they cruised to a game 2 victory. It took them 40 minutes, but they felt very, very convincing this game, even though it took them that long.
It felt like it might have been over by the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
And sure, it drags on for 30 minutes, but RisingStars, we saw some of the downsides to picks like Nyx and Doom. Not really dominant laners in certain matchups, especially the Doom. Really struggled top. Gave up that early solo kill to Lamb, and Rattlesnakes on top of that did well in the tri-lane, where I thought maybe they would struggle if they got caught out of position. Wasn't the case. We see the power of heroes like Keeper of the Light. If you get off multiple Illuminates, RisingStars just fell behind, lost all 3 lanes, really, could never catch up.
Yeah, to me, the big thing is that you have the Juggernaut in offensive Trial. You can't rely on Juggernaut to be a carry hero ever, especially in an offensive Trial. You have to have either your solo mid or your safe lane hero to be some sort of DPS. They had a Doom and a Nyx Assassin. Neither hero reliable enough damage, and they got punished for it.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for Game 2. It is a best of 3. Who's the best RS in the house? We're about to find out. We're going the distance. Rattlesnake, they take Game 2. They tie up the series 1-1. When we come back, we'll be live with Game 3. If Rattlesnake lose that next game, they will be 0-2 in the group. As for RisingStars, well, they take it. They start off 1-0. We'll find out after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our deciding Game 3, our last Dota 2 Super League match of the evening. It's going to be RisingStars versus Rattlesnakes. In Game 1, we saw RisingStars jump out to a quick and decisive stomping victory over Rattlesnake. In Game 2, went the other way. Another very one-sided affair. Gods, now time for Game 3.
Time for Game 3. Moving in, we're sort of saying Rattlesnake should be the favorites coming in. They dropped Game 1, though, and here they are. They need to win this series. They're already 0-1 in the Dota 2 Super League after a loss to LG International. A loss here could spell elimination for them, depending on how their remaining matches go. So they're looking to bounce back. We'll jump ourselves into the draft, and once again, the big thing is here, Visage, new top pick.
Apparently he is, and he's winning a lot of games. He won the last game as well, I believe.
Yep.
So that puts him, I mean, it puts him maybe at something like 20-6 over the last couple of games and over the last week or two of play. That is an insane pick rate. The one thing that's interesting about Visage is, as well as he's been doing, people are just not banning him. I think we've maybe seen 2 or 3 bans, but you compare that to heroes like Wisp, who are winning a lot of games, and Lifestealer, they always get banned.
Yeah, well, I think actually Wisp, his win rate wasn't as impressive as it was made out to be, partly because RisingStars were picking him against some top teams and losing, but Lifestealer in the qualifiers was 5-0, or I think by the end 6-0.
100% win rate, not so bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Once again, it's an Alchemist as well. Alchemist, I think 100% win rate as well. He won last game, he won the game before that.
Now
or no, vice versa. I'm confused.
Alchemist last game did in fact win. He was farming. Had a bit of a slow start,
in
but
Game 1, RisingStars won. So Alchemist and Visage, both 100% win rate so far. This time, one of them will lose.
Well, yeah, somebody's got to lose this game. And speaking of Lifestealer, I do want to mention, for anyone who hasn't heard, he got a bit of a nerf as of late. Open Wounds no longer dominant at level 1. The range scales now, and it's got a very low range at the early levels. So perhaps we'll see Lifestealer start to kind of settle into a more balanced position in the drafts. But that's in 6.78, won't be for a little bit.
Yeah, not for some time. RisingStars, they've got 2 more picks coming their way. They won't have the Alchemist. Maybe we'll start looking towards the Kunkka that they like to play quite a bit. That the Chinese teams have been definitely favoring over the recent times. Or we even see them pick up one of the junglers here, because last time round, both Chen and Enchantress were banned in the second ban stage. So if they want a jungler, I feel like they need to pick it up here in the first stage.
Of course, there is Lone Druid. If they want to go Lone Druid, Dragon Knight, that would be a very strong pushing composition. They'll go Dragon Knight. They'll follow it up with Queen of Pain. So they get a dual core lineup to start things off, a decent, serviceable solo mid in the Dragon Knight, and Queen of Pain. Here they can do decently against Clockwork or Darkseer. Clockwork for Rattlesnake, and is this where they go dual lanes?
This is much more like your classic Rattlesnake. This is when I first started watching them, they were doing this kind of draft. There would be a dual lane with something like a Darkseer, Clockwork, Alchemist as a solo mid. Then they'll get some safe lane, which will be a standard support, your Rubik, your Shadow Demon, your Keeper of the Light with your Gyrocopter or whatever it may be. Some kind of a carry hero for Icy. So I think we're going back that direction.
Chat is cracking me up right now. We do know one thing. RS is going to take Game 3, and I'm put a lot of money on that one. Not sure what the odds will be, but hey, there you go. So
I think it's pretty good, LD.
Yeah,
RS
pretty good odds.
looking good.
Speaking of RS looking good on camera as well, relaxed and just going to chill through the draft. Not too much communication, and that's one thing I always just find interesting as observer. Some teams, they talk a lot. They all gather around the draft, or they're very animated.
Yeah.
So other teams like Rattlesnake just kind of sit back, let the draft do his thing, and just they're in their own little worlds.
Yeah, they really actually just chill. I mean, you can see each player just looking at their own screen, just like, yeah, we got this, no problem. But Rattlesnake, we'll see if they have in fact got this. This is an important match, and well, RisingStars found the Keeper of the Light, a hero picked up in both the first 2 games by Rattlesnake. They lost the first, they won the second, and they do need some supports here. They've got their dual lane, they've got, well, I guess a solo mid in the Alchemist. He can be played as a safe lane farmer, but to me, most likely it's your solo mid Alchemist. If anything, just banning out heroes like Rubik, Keeper of the Light is going to be a smart way to play this.
We've seen Alchemist can just flat out beat Dragon Knight mid. Despite having the low base armor, not the best damage, Acid Spray spam is just really powerful. So they put him mid. That frees them up to run the dual lane Darkseer Clockwork. They can run a safe lane dual lane. They can maybe run just a standard off lane Clock or a jungle Darkseer. We'll see exactly how they want to play this one. Lots of options for Rattlesnake. Don't have the carry yet. Well, I mean, maybe they have to carry in the Alch, but if it goes mid, then they don't really have their big damage dealer. And I guess that's my question is, do they go 4-core here? We've seen Rattlesnake at times, and I think they actually have a good win rate with it. Not afraid just to pick 4 heroes that need a lot of levels and farm and say, we'll outmaneuver you, and we'll pull ahead late game.
Yeah, to me, it seems to be where they've had some of their most success, so maybe they go back for it here. The main key thing is to not pick a very greedy fourth core hero, which is going to be the safe lane hero who doesn't need a ton of farm. Gyrocopter is somewhat farm heavy, but I feel you can also make do with basic items, a Drum of Endurance, a fast BKB, and then you have the damage sources coming elsewhere as well.
RisingStars, if this was any other team who had these 3 heroes, you'd ban 3 supports. But when it's Rattlesnake, or maybe Dignitas you wouldn't. That would be sort of your other team from the West that likes to be a bit greedy. But RisingStars, they'll ban a Magnus out here, which frankly I don't think Rattlesnake would have gone for, but I do agree with this idea that they'll go for another hero that benefits from farm. So that I like. Magban, just not a hero Rattlesnake really plays.
Yeah, I definitely agree that. The one time they played it was when they had that safe lane mag, I think against LGD.
Yeah. In
that Grand Finals series in the TI3 Eastern qualifiers, and it was not very impressive.
Profit from RisingStars gets removed from the pool, and, well, what is their third hero, their third farmer going to be? Visage can be the tri-lane farmer. Generally, though, we've seen him played as a support. He just does so much with minimal farm that giving him the farm sometimes feels a bit wasteful. Rattlesnake, they'll ban a Chaos Knight. I guess he's a decent tri-lane option, but without Wisp, it's just not something the teams really turn to.
Yeah, I think this is somewhere where Rattlesnake is starting to expect maybe an offensive tri-lane. You've got a DK Queen of Pain as your 2 solos. Neither of them can go to the offlane. So essentially, DK will be mid, Queen of Pain in the safe lane. It's something. That's really the problems with these first 3 picks for RisingStars. They've more or less given away their lanes, given away the fact that they're very likely to go offensive tri-lane, which is where you see Rubik, Juggernaut, CK Band, all good offensive tri-lane heroes. RisingStars now going to have to go somewhere else.
And I feel Rattlesnake can dominate mid and the off lane. Darkseer 1v1 versus Queen of Pain will break even. If Clockwork's maybe there and you force out a Queen of Pain Blink, you surge in the Clock, Trapper and Cogs, Battery Assault, Iron Shell, you can kill Queen of Pain safe lane. So I look at Rattlesnake, and then Alchemist versus Dragon Knight mid can be an even lane, but definitely something Alchemist has won in the past. So potentially they win those 2 lanes heavily, and then RisingStars, a lot of pressure on their tri-lane. But we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah, the one thing I may be considering, Rattlesnake may be considering not going with their classic dual lane just because of the tri-lane coming out. The Darkseer Clockwork dual lane is nice, but you can't really kill or beat the Queen of Pain. I don't see it dominating that lane.
You can, but only if she makes a mistake.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens. RisingStars, well, they've gotten Alina now. They still need that tri-lane hero. What is it going to be? They don't really have a great setup at this point. Alchemist already picked up. What do you go for here?
Weaver?
Well,
Okay.
Rattlesnake go for Weaver, so they
There's
get their
your
4th core. There you go.
A hero who, if you're going to have a dual lane versus a tri-lane, can do okay. He's hard to kill, hard to lock down. You've got Lina Visage. Lina Light Strike Array is a stun, but it's not really an instant direct disable for Weaver, so it's something which is going to be not easy to land unless you get a setup, which is going to be the Sven. So there's your offensive tri-lane, Sven, Lina, Visage.
Now, of course, Stormbolt, it's not going to hit you if you're invis. It won't hit you there unless you're stunning a creep next to the Weaver or something like that. So they'll have to buy early sentries or dust here if they up against the Weaver, which I imagine they will be. And I mean, it's a hard lane to kill. Sure, you've got the stun combo. Stormbolt, very mana intensive. There's no Keeper of the Light to fuel the spam. So if they miss that first Stormbolt or 2, could be a lane where they struggle to actually find kills. That being said, they do just have a lot of harassment from Lina, from Visage, from long range. But I feel for Rattlesnake that if they play this right, they can come out really far ahead through the laning stage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And something they can even consider is keeping the Clockwork as a support, but even in the safe lane. If you can get an early Cog mana burn on Sven, it can completely cripple him. He's so mana dependent to get that Stormbolt off. One, if you get a second Cogs, his mana's gone.
And how many clarities can you really buy? You have to buy Observers, you'll have to buy Sentries because you're running an aggressive tri-lane. So I really like that idea as well. And the other nice thing is Darkseer doesn't need the help. Can lane 1v1 versus the Queen of Pain. Alk can go mid, and whoever this third support is just needs to sit back and not die. That's basically their only job. I feel Rattlesnake should be able to at least break even bottom, possibly win mid, break even there at worst, and in the tri-lane, they'll benefit more from the levels. So I think their draft, if they execute it correctly, has more potential than RisingStars.
Silencer last pick. This is like just your Rattlesnake classic draft, something which hardly any other team would pull out, but they bring out the Silencer. I think if anything, they almost need to run Clockwork in the safe lane as a safe lane tri-lane hero, just because Sven, Lina, Visage can whip out some serious damage, and with a Sentry Ward on the ground, Weaver, sure, he's great at sort of escaping, may not be able to do so.
This is the Mana Burn tri-lane. Now we've got the Silencer, Curse of the Silent if Sega wants to opt for it, as well as the Cogs, but for the time being, they'll send Kabu towards the bottom lane. Let's see where Rattlesnake go. They desperately need this Game 3, otherwise they'll be 0-2 in Group B of the Dota 2 Super League, and that's going to be a tall order to bounce back from there, because DK and Orange, 2 of the strongest teams in the group, at least on paper, are waiting for them. Lamb, he'll be playing the Darkseer. Had some big plays on the Clockwork, but this time around, the clock will go to Kabu. He'll be playing by far his signature hero, the hero he's had the most success with. Luo going to be playing that solo mid Alchemist, rushing the bottle. Has been pulled a single set of tangos. And then a dual lane top. Icy on the Weaver and Sagim on the Silencer. No skill picked up just yet. And it looks like in the end, they won't run the dual lane. Kabu just heads bottom, but he'll head back top, and I like this combo. Cogs and Curse of the Silence spam. Going to be very annoying.
He's running very close to some Rising Stars heroes who are on the Radiant side. They're the team who won game 1. It's XDD playing that off-lane tri-lane hero for the 3rd game in a row. He's on the Sven, Super on the Visage, Mofi playing the Lina support. And then we have the mid lane, Zhao Tuji, the carry player on the Dragon Knight, and that puts Queen of Pain Air into the safe lane Queen of Pain. Clockwork still lingering around the bottom lane, so it will be the dual lane versus the Clock, and it's like we kind of agreed that you need Queen of Pain to make a mistake if you're going to win or get a kill on the Queen of Pain.
It's definitely possible to kill her, though, because you can easily creep skip. She won't be able to punish that. They could maybe get an early TP scroll on their supports to turn that tower dive around, but you clear out the creep wave, you surge the Clockwork in with Ion Shell, and if she blinks away and isn't in a good spot, or if she's already used Blink, then she'll die, because Blink has a very long cooldown at the early levels. So I think Eric can definitely live if he plays it right, but if he slips up, could be the first blood.
Yeah, I think that's perfect here. The problem is going to be the top lane, the tri lane. It's going to be so hard for these heroes to stay alive. There are no sentries